everyone, and welcome to the most must see podcast on Thursday nights, and that's Top Rope Wrestling Talk. We got the host, Kev Wiseman, myself. We got Brian. We have Roger. We have the guru, Manuel. We have Calvin, Dr. Nick. We have Will.
Yeah,
We have Ben. How y'all doing?
Good.
Doing great.
It's Thursday. Let's get it.
better than I should
Get it.
be.
What the? I already see a damn light bubble up there.
What?
Roger had a light bubble up there. It's already started.
Thumbs up.
Way to go, Roger.
There
You
go,
tell him,
Brian.
Roger. You tell him, Roger. Don't take no shit.
All right, guys, we're going to jump into this. We're here to
Fuck
talk
your
some
thoughts,
wrestling. What?
It's fucking
Did he say something about Brian?
probably.
Probably.
All right, guys, we're going to jump into this, and I'm going to hand it over to Will because we do this thing called Will's Roundtable, and he gets to ask us a question, brother. So let's roll with it. You ready, Will?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let me pull it up real quick. I actually wrote it down this week because I'm trying to make sure that I ask different people different things. So if you get the same question, sorry. Shane Powers is also here too. He
Yeah,
just
I
text let me in. All right. So first question
What's
is
up?
for me.
Shane.
First,
Hey.
what's up, Shane? Welcome in.
What's up, fellas?
So first question is for Manuel this week.
Oh.
If you had a friend that did not watch wrestling and you wanted them to see how cool it is, what match would you show them?
Steamboat Savage.
Okay.
That's
That's it.
or I could go, Sean Razor ladder match, WrestleMania. Man, I feel like those two, if you show anybody that's not a wrestling fan, those two great matches that could have went either way. I feel like if you show them that, then they might can get hooked.
There you go. I like it.
You got me.
All right, Calvin White. Let's go to Calvin. Actually, no. Let me go to Dr. Nick on this one. Dr. Nick, greatest match in SummerSlam history. Doesn't have to be a main event.
Okay. I know it might be a little bit controversial just because a lot of people don't think that highly regarding of it. And I know a lot of people are going to think I'm going to go old school, but I'm not. I really enjoyed the unsanctioned match that Shawn and Triple H had.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was the first time that we had seen Shawn in the ring in a very long time. It had a great story. Triple H was at the top of his game at that time. And they had a story that had carried for so many years. And it was just done so well that I would honestly say, I mean, yeah, there was a lot of really good matches that year, but I would say, at least from my perspective, outside of, some of the classics, I'd have to say that one from, I believe it from SummerSlam 02, was that correct?
Yep, absolutely
Okay.
correct. Shawn was gone like 4.5 years. So yeah, very cool. I like it. I love that match. And a lot of people don't remember, but that was also Brock's first world title where he defeated The Rock there too. And
Yep.
if you go back and watch that, that was a great match too. Nobody ever talks about it. Nobody ever gives it credit. But if you go and watch that match, I guarantee you're going to enjoy it. So, all right, now back to Calvin on this one. Calvin, you can't pick Hogan. You can't pick Flair. But who was the greatest of all time WCW champion besides Hogan and Flair?
Oh, I'm gonna say Sting.
Sting? Why do you say Sting? What makes you pick him?
I mean, he when he come back as the Crow Sting, he ended Hollywood Hogan's title reign. It wasn't for long, but he ended it.
Okay. All right, very cool. Brian, Razor Ramon's best rivalry besides the rivalry with Shawn.
Man. I mean, I don't even know if you want to call it rivalry, but 1, 2, 3 Kid. I mean, that was a good story, leading up to the. But no, yeah, 1, 2, 3 Kid would be mine.
That was a hell of a good rivalry. So you got actually two parts to that. So in the very beginning, you had the rivalry when 1, 2, 3 Kid was the good guy and Razor was the bad guy. Then towards the end of both of their runs there, you had Razor as the good guy and Kid as the bad guy, and you had Sid involved too, and that was always really good. So I like that answer, really good. All right, Ben Bowman, Nasty Boys. Why are they not ever brought up in the greatest of all time tag teams? They've won championships everywhere. They've always been a top tier main event team. They've main evented pay per views, multiple time tag team champions, literally everywhere they've been. Why are they never talked about when people talk about the Road Warriors, the Steiners, and all these other teams?
Probably a lot of things like maybe behind the scenes that we don't know about. Like, they could be very controversial as we see at conventions. But right during that time, there was a lot of great tag teams to kind of put them down. That early 90s, with LOD, Heart Foundation, Steiner's, Harlem Heat. You had a lot of better tag teams right there above them. The ones that gets crapped on a lot too is Demolition. That's another one that we don't talk about enough. And like I said, they just had a lot of great tag teams during that era. And they won it there. They had a great manager, Jimmy Hart, but it's just, I guess, a lot of competitions or behind the scenes that we just don't know about that could cause them not to be ever talked about.
All
Makes
right.
sense.
Kev Buckler, King Kong Bundy. Where do you rank him among the best of all time?
Best of all time, right?
Yeah, where do you rank him amongst the best of all time?
Jesus. Man, that's a hard one. Because there's some. I like him. I'm a huge fan. Don't get me wrong, but I'd put him in my top 10.
Okay.
I'd put him at
Okay.
10. I would. I'd put him at 10.
Why do you think he's so overlooked as a major heel? I mean, he kind of came out of nowhere in '86. I mean, obviously he had been in some smaller territories, and then the next thing you know, he's in the main event in 1986 at WrestleMania. Like
Exactly.
he's in the closing match with Hogan in the cage. So for a guy that really came out of some territory days, straight into WWF, comes in, squashes Hogan, ends up teaming with Andre the following year. I mean, the guy did a lot. I mean, really a lot, and he was a super believable heel opponent where he could have literally won the title any night, and you would never ever hear his name amongst the greatest of all time, and yet he literally was right up there with all of them, and then was gone for years and years. Started acting in movies. He ran, wrestled in some independent promotions. Then came back in the mid '90s and had another major WWF run where he faced all kinds of top contenders and challengers for the world title and everything else. So I think we need to come up with a full, complete list and maybe make that a future topic where we kind of rank like the top 10 baby faces and the top 10 heels and just kind of see where everybody's got them. Because for some reason, he's always left off everybody's list. But the guy really, he put out a lot of effort and he was a big name at the time. Nobody ever thinks about him.
That gimmick and everything leading up to that cage match, where he made Hogan wrap his ribs and everything. That's the reason he's pretty much in my top 10.
Yeah.
If anybody else would probably say, they'd probably say maybe 30, 40, but I've always loved King Kong Bundy. I thought he was a great big man.
Yep. All right, Roger Elkins. Who was better? Doesn't matter WWF or WCW, but who was better overall? Rick Rude or Mr. Perfect? Now that's a tough one.
That's
Damn.
wow.
That's like asking him who he likes better, me or Brian.
Well, that's easy.
Yeah. That's a simpler one compared to this one. Wow. I would say Rick Rude, but in my opinion, his career was cut short as opposed to Mr. Perfect. So I'll go with Mr. Perfect just based on that. I think if Rick Rude would have had more time, I think he would have been able to do more. I think he would have easily surpassed Mr. Perfect. So I'll say Mr. Perfect just based on that.
Okay. All right. And last but not least, we got Mr. Shane Powers. Last but not least, hope you can hear me.
Yeah.
Shane, do you consider the Ultimate Warrior one of the greatest of all time?
I would say yeah, because he was a big name. He might not have been one of the greatest technical wrestlers, but you mentioned the Ultimate Warrior, and I would say 9 out of 10 people would know who you're talking about. I love the guy. Like I said, one of my favorites growing up. So I would think he would be up there.
So you think he would rank up there amongst like Hogan, Savage, Piper, The Rock, Austin? He'd rank right up there with those guys.
On fame level, I would say yeah. Wrestling like level, no, I don't
Okay.
think he was, as good as a wrestler as those guys.
So it really kind of solidifies my point, though, that we really need to come up with a top 10 or a top 15 faces and heels, Kev. So we definitely want to get that on the agenda
Oh yeah.
coming up. That's a good point because I think everybody looks at that differently because, if you only had 10 to choose or you only had 15 to choose, where would these guys land? And that's the hard part is, a lot of guys aren't going to make the cut. If you were making a team of only 10 players or only 15 players, who doesn't make the cut? So, but I really enjoyed the answers. I hope you guys did too. I thought those were
Oh yeah,
some
absolutely.
tougher ones. So
All right. Well,
I have a
now we're
question
starting.
for.
Wait, hold on. Now we're starting part 2. You're fine, brother. He's like-
Hold up.
and we're doing the Willie's Roundtable in reverse, and we're going to ask the questions.
Nice.
So I'm going to go first. We're going to go in order, and I just kind of have just a simple question of, hey, Will, what do you think there would have been a difference in booking Bret Hart had he went to WCW the first time that he was offered it, and there was no Montreal Screwjob? The first time, remember they offered him a contract, he turned it down. Do you think that he would have been booked a whole hell of a lot different and wouldn't have been a shit show?
absolutely, because you got to remember the first time would have been right after WrestleMania 12. So you're talking March, April of '96. NWO doesn't start till July of '96. By the time his no compete clause ends, he's coming in right at the very beginning of the NWO. So the NWO is forming their side and their team. I don't think you ever put him with the NWO. I think you put him with Sting. I think you put him with Piper. I think you put him with Savage. I think you put him with those guys, and he ends up becoming the leader of the WCW locker room, or at least amongst the leaders of that locker room. And then I think you have a rivalry that nobody would ever forget because you've got, these guys were believed at the time, WCW guys, Razor Ramon and Kevin Nash, Diesel were believed to be WWF guys, but now they're WCW guys. Nobody knows it. So
Well,
sudden
did
you
we
have
lose?
Brett come in and Brett's on the WCW side, then now you're believing that not only is the WWF trying to take over WCW, but you also got the top WWF guy trying to help WCW survive. So, I mean, can you imagine the rivalry there? How incredible would that have been?
Fantastic. I love it. Thanks for the answer. Brian?
All right, William. So let's say you're in charge of the WWE Hall of Fame. Who do you pick this year as your main attraction Hall of Famer and why?
Well, I think main attraction is always the toughest part because some years you've had real incredible superstars, and other years you haven't had people that I would think are going to be, the headliner of the Hall of Fame. So, for example, and it's not to be disrespectful to him, but one year Ted DiBiase, the Million Dollar Man, was the headliner of the Hall of Fame. I mean, yes, he was great. Yes, he did a lot, but I don't know that you could headline with that. I think what you have to do is you have to go through and you have to really pick like almost wings of the Hall of Fame. You have to say, okay, I need something I haven't done yet. I need a couple tag teams that I haven't put in. I need a couple big men I haven't put in. And I need a couple of the older guys that are all, just always forgotten about from the territory days. And I need to get those guys in. You got to be very diverse in how you choose them. And that's the key is, a lot of times like this year, I'm not saying Heyman doesn't deserve to be a main eventer in the Hall of Fame, but in reality, there's a lot of people out there that still are not in that probably should have been in that spot. Again, I know he's one of the greatest managers of all time, one of the greatest bookers as well, but you've got to really diversify it. I mean, this was probably the first year that I can say for me, and probably some of you guys too, once you watch the Heyman induction, you were kind of like, well, nothing else to really see here. And I don't think that's the way it should be. It should be, really, really diversified. You got to go. You got to go grab the Demolition. You got to go grab, the Bam Bams. You got to go grab those guys that all of us want to see. And you've got to find a way somehow to get Owen in there. Getting Owen in there and getting Owen's family tied to a Legends contract. You're going to be able to do so much with his name, with his likeness, making figures, making shirts, making all kinds of stuff. And that's what the fans want. It's not about, necessarily what his family generally wants. Like they just want to punish the WWE for allowing him to die. But, you're also alienating a huge group of fans by not doing that. So, and then, there's a lot of other characters you could sit back and really think of that really deserve to be in there, and they're not in there yet because of some lawsuit that came up a while back. Look at the Warlord. What a great character and an overall great guy. Definitely deserves to be in there. There's so many of them. So just throwing that out there for you.
Thank you.
All right. Roger, do you have a question?
Just a quick one. Given I know what your favorite belt is of all time, what would be your second and third favorite belts of all time?
So
Given I'm the
I mean,
belt guy.
you got to go classic. It's so hard. There's so many great ones, but you got to go, classic. I would say, Winged Eagle, obviously, number one, Big Eagle, number two, or no, not Big Eagle, Big Gold, number two. And then I would say probably the Intercontinental Championship, number three, the traditional one. If I could only own three belts, those would be the three that I would own. But, fortunately, we live in a free country where we can own whatever the hell we want, basically. And I own a lot more, but there's just so many great designs that, it's so tough on any given day. Like the classic tag team titles, absolutely love the classic tag team titles too. So, but I think that's what I would go. I would go Winged Eagle, Big Gold, and Intercontinental Classic title.
Okay, Guru. What kind of name is Guru anyway, brother?
He's a knowledgeable one, man. He's a knowledgeable
nor
one.
the place. I was going to put the
Exactly.
black guy. I was going to put the black guy, but I didn't want to be kicked off any streaming services. I
All right,
wanted to
buddy,
come back.
You want to come back? Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna throw you a HBK question.
Okay.
Does his career still go as planned if he never loses his smile and leaves? Or do you think it was just, it was the perfect thing for him to do?
I think it was, it was a political move. He didn't want to lose the belt to Brett. Obviously, WrestleMania 11, him and Diesel, ultimately was Sid in Sean's corner. Sean should have won it at 11. Even if he only held it for one night, Sean should have won it at 11 from Diesel. Diesel could have took it back on Raw. Then you fast forward to 12. Sean beats Brett, even though it's in overtime. It's controversial. You wrap around to 13, and Sean had lost to Sid at Survivor Series, won it back at Rumble, and the match everybody wanted to see at the time was 100% Sean versus Brett. So Sean doesn't lose a smile, goes into WrestleMania 13, faces Brett. I think Brett takes the title. He probably could have had a rivalry, the whole rest of the year. you probably never see the screw job come back after that, and you definitely never see the true launch of Austin because 13 was Austin's real launch. That's when he really took off.
Yeah.
And without that happening, without him and Brett doing the submission match, that doesn't happen. So, but I would say, he keeps his belt, keeps his smile, drops it to Brett, probably wins it back at King of the Ring or even SummerSlam in '97. You can still have the big Survivor Series showdown, but you probably never ever see the Montreal Screwjob. And without all that happening, you never get Stone Cold Steve Austin. You never get the Mr. McMahon character. So, as much as I would have loved to have seen that happen, I think we would have lost out on a lot. And if you really, truly put it into perspective with the way it did happen, it almost makes you wonder what other characters did we lose? Who else would have been a top star? And because of the way things played out, they never became. Because, again, in that situation, with that happening the way it did, Austin becomes a star. Brett becomes a heel. Undertaker wins the title back that he hadn't had since '91. I mean, there's a lot of things that happened in that one event. And, it makes you wonder if it had gone a different way, who would have become a star and who wouldn't have. So,
All right. Calvin, do you have a question you want to ask Will?
I do.
Okay.
So, Bash at the Beach, 96. Greatest heel turn ever.
yep.
So, say Hogan never was involved in that. Who do you think would have taken Hogan's spot and made the impact Hogan did?
So nobody could have made the impact Hogan did. But again, I think you've got Sting, who was planned to be the next guy, but I don't think it ever works with Sting. So you really needed a guy that had been in WWF. I think again, if Brett had not re-signed with WWF and gone over there, I really think he would have been on the WCW team. But he could have ultimately been the leader of the NWO, and it would have been just as strong. Sting, I don't think he could have carried it off like Hogan because it would
No
have been
way.
a big betrayal, but it wouldn't have been the betrayal of the massive amount that it was with Hogan. You have people that have never watched a wrestling match that know who Hulk Hogan is and know what happened at that event. So um, ultimately, Hogan was the best choice. I think it was just one of those things where people were sitting around talking and they were like, what if we made you heel? And at first he was, solely against it, and then all of a sudden he was for it, and that was the best thing that ever happened. I mean, and also too, you could literally go back and watch that match. I know I can. You can go back and watch that match as a whole over and over, and it's just a great match by itself. And then the ending just really, it's just so powerful, so emotional, And if you don't feel those emotions when you watch that match, maybe you should go back and watch the build up to it because, man, what an emotional time. So great
A
question.
lot of
Thank
people
you.
took that personal, though, that heel turn of him. They took it personal.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, they cried. There was people that cried about it.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
all right, Dr. Nick, you had a question for Will?
I do. So, a lot of people have said many times over the years that WWE had lost its way when it came to long-term booking. Do you think it would have been better for them to stay with the big four pay-per-views, Mania, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, things like that, SummerSlam? It would benefit. Do you think it would benefit even today if they went back to not a pay-per-view every month, but like maybe every couple months, every other month, something like that?
So I think WWF did it simply to generate revenue. If you remember when they first started the In Your House pay-per-views, they were only an hour and 45 minutes long. They only cost about half the price of the normal pay-per-views, and they were bringing in, much more talent by then. 95 was a really stacked WWF, even though it wasn't the Macho Man and the Hulkster and all those guys. They had a lot of talent brought in. So you've got to have a way to showcase those guys, and you've got to have a way to bring in revenue. You're not talking a $1 billion plus corporation at that time. It's still, very much, it's a big company, but it's not bringing in the revenue that it needs. You're trying to payroll all of these guys, and you've got to have revenue coming in. WCW for a long time, even though I loved them, absolutely loved watching them, made a huge mistake doing the Clash of Champions because you weren't getting any revenue off that. The only thing you were getting was ticket sales at the door, and you were selling out venues for Clash of the Champions that held 6,000 people, 8,000 people. You weren't bringing in revenue. So, only having the big four back then, financially, it probably supported them for a long time in the 80s. But when you got to the 90s, you had such a thick roster. And, you figure Brett was making 750. Sean was probably making 750. Taker was making 750, a year. And then plus, t-shirt sales and merchandise sales. And one thing you'll remember too, if you go back and watch them, which, hopefully when we get to show and tell, we'll talk about that a lot. But one thing you'll remember is during those in your house pay-per-views, they took like 3 or 4 breaks in between matches to show off merchandise. And they would say, call this number to order the Sean glasses, or call this number to order the Bret Hart t-shirt or the Undertaker t-shirt, and every little bit of that revenue helped. And I think that they did the right thing. They probably should have done it a little sooner. And then if you watch WCW, almost immediately after that, started doing the same thing. Now, they didn't go until one every single month until I think 97, maybe 98. But, they still were doing the Clash of the Champions and losing revenue. So, yes, I think it was a good idea. They probably should have done it sooner. And if you watch them, the marketing genius was incredible.
Mr. Bowman, you got anything?
Yes. I know a lot of us in here are collectors. If you had to start all over, just reshuffle it up, and you could get anything to your collection, what would be the very first thing that you would add to your collection? One item.
Well, one item, I think it would be anything either Hogan, Savage, or Piper. Because some of my best stuff and my favorite stuff in my collection is either Hogan, Savage, or Piper. Flair too. Man, one of the first things I ever got that I really truly held on to, and most of you guys know this, is the stuff that I went the week after Bash at the Beach 96. I met the Macho Man, and I had him sign a trading card and I had him sign a picture, and I literally still have that stuff. So I guess if I had to start over with just one thing, it would probably be those 2 pieces of Macho Man stuff, because they helped fuel the collection. They helped fuel the want to see what else was out there. Even prior to that, I mean, obviously when I was a kid, and I still have the same Hasbros I played with as a kid, that's a huge part of my collection personally too. But I would say my Savage pieces are pretty top. I would say that's probably where I would start over.
Fantastic. G.I. Shane.
Yeah.
You're next. You got a question, brother?
I'll switch it up and go with how was your day today?
There you go.
It was
I
good.
liked it.
It was good. I had to haul a bunch of stuff off to the landfill. I've been working around the house and getting rid of stuff and cleaning out the garage and just different things. So it was a little busy. I was out for a while today. It was 97 degrees out. It's hotter than hell. But other than that, I mean, it was pretty good. Just kind of looking forward to getting on here tonight and seeing everybody and kind of catching up with what everybody else is doing.
Even
Awesome.
you, Kev. Even you.
So real quick before we move on, this is a question for Will and Ben. Since you guys have promoted so many different wrestlers over the years, if you guys had your choice, dead or alive, money no options, who would you be a vendor for at a convention?
Well,
Like, who would you bring
for
in?
me-
Anybody ever?
For me, I've had a great time working with Nash. Had a great time, doing a signing with Hall. I honestly, I would say I met him and loved meeting him and loved every minute of it. Was Roddy Piper, and if I had the chance to bring him in and work with him at a show, I think it would be incredible. But there's so many that I have already worked with that I enjoyed so much. These guys always give me a little bit of a hard time about it because we've had so many talents now. But my favorite talent we ever brought in was PCO. I really enjoyed working with him. But if I had my choice between anybody out there, I would say Piper would have been great to bring in.
Ben?
Mine, money no option. You got to think you never meet your heroes. That's what they always say. And especially it's a job, so to work with them, it would suck. Then you have that regret. So like I would love to work with Hogan. I'd love to work with Flair, Sting. The fame, but that's not my choice. If I had to choose, since kind of doing this for the last 5 years, the first one that's still on my bucket list that I would love to work with is Diamond Dallas Page. That would be the one on my bucket list to work
That's
at a show.
awesome. I love those answers. They're very good. Love
Fantastic. Good question, Dr. Nick. I
It
appreciate that.
was. Yeah, good
Thank you.
question.
All right, guys, you ready? We're going to jump into our main topic. We're going to start it out, and it is who made who? Was it Hogan?
It's gay.
Did Hogan make McMahon, or did McMahon make Hogan? So we're going to discuss that. I guess I can go first or whatever. And
Of course.
I think they both made each other. And I know that's maybe trying to sneak away from the question, but I mean, I don't think you could have one without the other. You had Hogan, right place, right time, and then McMahon behind the brains, and they just, two brains made one. Hogan was the worker, Vince McMahon was the brains behind it, and they went one and one together. WrestleMania, Hogan was the right, look at Hogan. Everybody knows who Hogan is. Everybody knows who McMahon is. So I know I'm kind of getting off the subject, but and then I'll let you all take over and talk about it. But I think they both made each other. You wouldn't have had Hogan without McMahon, and I don't think McMahon would have been successful without Hogan. So if anybody wants to reply to that, if not, I will go next to Brian.
Well, I'm gonna say Vince made Hogan. The reason being is because obviously before Hulk came to the WWF, obviously they gave him that persona, he ran with it, right? But I mean, at the end of the day, Vince made Hogan, created the genre, and I mean, yeah, Hogan did well. I mean, Hogan, obviously one of the greatest of all time, but who knows
But what if Hogan didn't do well at that character?
They would have reimaged him as Bulk Bogan. I'm not disagreeing with what you said, Kev. I'm just saying somebody made Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan didn't create himself.
Oh, I got you.
So they gave him. I'm going kind of off topic here, but like Stone Cold Steve Austin, obviously, before Stone Cold Steve Austin, you heard all the names that they wanted to give him, right? Like Frosty McBox or whatever, and
Chili McFreeze.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm sure Hulk Hogan wasn't the first. Wasn't the first choice for either of those guys. So
for the name wise, I think Senior gave him the name.
Well, what was Hulk Hogan's name when he was in the AWA when he first came up and was popular? That's where I'm going to go.
Terry Boulder.
Terry Boulder. So that's my answer.
I like it.
Oh, that's a good answer. Roger, you got anything about it?
I agree with you, Kev, to a point. I think that I think it's twofold. If Terry Boulder wouldn't have been so popular in AWA, Vince wouldn't have brought him over. So we wouldn't have even been having this discussion. So in a way, Hulk Hogan made himself, and then Vince finished off the product. Because Terry Boulder was popular in the AWA.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where he got seen by Vince. And Vince pulled him over to WWF. which then in turn made him Hulk Hogan, which made him the person he is today, the popularity, I'm not going to say icon because that's Sting, but the man he is today, so popular as he is. So to me, Vince made him, but he made himself prior to that.
Yeah, because well, it depends who you believe or listen to. You know, you got different stories, but he was doing Japan at the same time as AWA. That's supposedly why he left AWA, because supposedly Vern Gagne wanted some of his Japan money.
Japan money. Yep.
Yeah. So, damn good answer. So far, we've had great answers. Guru, this was your topic. Let's let you run with it.
I'm gonna say Hogan made McMahon. I mean, you know, I've asked people. I asked somebody this question today. You know, what do you know about wrestling? They was like, I know who Hulk Hogan is. You know, I mean, I just feel like, you know, like they said, you know, AWA, he was already kind of famous. You know, he kind of had a name for himself. Vince seen, you know, dollar signs, ran with it. Obviously, you know, Hulkamania still runs wild. You know, but I look at it a different perspective. Hulk Hogan's still around. I mean, he's figures, merch, own stores. You know, I mean, you ask anybody, you know, what do you know about Hulk Hogan? I know he's a professional wrestler. You know, I just feel like it was probably when Hogan left, it was probably time for that marriage to end. And by that point, Hogan was, you know, he was Hulk Hogan. He was, I mean, you know, Roger don't want to use the word icon, but I mean, Hogan was at that point in time, he was the man. I mean, everybody wanted Hulk Hogan. You know, I mean, my fame. You know, I like the line that Bobby Brain Heenan used on the heel turn. You know, whose side is he on? You know, that tells you a whole lot. You know, he's always been the good guy that, you know, say your prayers, eat your vitamins. When he turned heel, you know that. You know, I think it was a fu to Vince McMahon. Like, hey, I can do this on my own, buddy. I don't need you to, you know, feel like you made me, you know, Hollywood Hogan. He was born, you know, and then, you know, I just feel like he made McMahon, and when McMahon lost him, he relied on other stars, while Hogan still to this day is immortal. I mean, he's immortal Hulk Hogan. I mean, I don't see Vince McMahon having any figures or any, you know, merchandise. I mean, you know, Vince McMahon's, you know, trying to do whatever to women, you know. Hulk Hogan had a sex tape, you know, so they go hand in hand, you know. So I guess, you know, professionally, I feel like Hulk Hogan made McMahon, you know. Personally, they're probably the same person.
Hey, I have a question though.
Well, first, can somebody answer Kevin Van Gelder? Was it Rick Derringer? Was that his name?
Yep.
It was originally used for Rotundo and who was his tag team partner?
Barry Windham.
Yep, Windham and Rotundo's theme song.
So, what are your personal feelings on the Hulkster, Daniel?
I like Hulk Hogan. You know, as a kid, that was that was growing up. That's the first wrestler I seen. You know, watching as a kid. You know, this guy, this big, you know, red and yellow. You know, when it comes crashing down and it hurts inside. You know, the theme song was catchy. He had a, you know, flamboyant color, red and yellow, and he had a weight belt, and he's, you know, telling me to say my prayers, eat my vitamins, you know. And then as he became, you know, I got older and he became, you know, Hollywood Hogan. I was like, this motherfucker's cool, man. He spray painting people, and you know, he's, you know, got his own faction. You know, he got his own clique. You know, I want to be that guy. You know, I want to be him. You know, he just at that point he made being a wrestling fan cool. I mean, we're still cool to this day. But I mean, personally, I've always liked Hulk Hogan. I mean, you know, professionally, I mean, I don't care what he does outside of wrestling, but you know, in the ring, I mean, I like to watch him. I mean, obviously he's doing something right. You buy stuff from him, you're gonna spend top dollar.
Yes, sir.
So I mean, you know, that should be something in itself. I mean, he's still got a lot of value to his name just because he's Hulk Hogan. You know, I mean.
And hey, Emmanuel, Vince McMahon does have figures.
But I mean, I'm sure. I mean,
Go ahead.
So does Teddy Long.
But your buddy Phil said nobody made Mr. McMahon. This is
Well,
blasphemy.
he still thinks McMahon didn't do what he did to them women. So
Well, I want to get Phil on the
Well.
podcast sometime. See if he can defend that. But we'll go next to Calvin. What's your opinion, brother?
I mean, I agree with you, Kev. I agree with Roger. But I also feel like that Hogan made McMahon. Hogan main evented, 3 WrestleManias in a row? 1, 2, and 3. They took a chance at WrestleMania 1 and made it big, and it's big now. But you can't think of WWE, WWF, whatever, without mentioning Hulk Hogan. Nobody mentions Vince McMahon.
Sure. I mean,
Fair enough.
you're right. I agree about that. When you think, I mean, even though Hogan was in WCW, when you say Hogan, you think of WWF. That's what you know. Even though he was very successful in WCW, you automatically think of WWF.
Yep.
In my opinion. So, Dr. Nick, what we got?
So, honestly, I think Hogan made McMahon. And the reason why I say that is not as far as the one couldn't have done without the other. I'm not saying that, but you had a product, you had a name, you had an idea. Vince Sr. first saw that idea, didn't want Hogan to go do Rocky 3. Hogan left anyway. Eventually, he made his way back in. And with the idea of what Hulk Hogan was, Vince molded that and made it marketable. He's like, hey, we got a good idea here. I like what you're doing. I like your personality. I'm going to shine it up. I'm going to make it marketable. I'm going to make it to where kids want to buy your t-shirts, your action figures, wrestling buddies. People are going to want to watch you, pay tons of money. He basically marketed Hulk Hogan. But then you also have the other aspect of it of if we didn't have McMahon buying the territories, come up with the idea of pay-per-views, coming up with the idea of doing multiple stories with all these different ideas and different guys, you wouldn't have had either one of them. If it was left up to Vern Gagne being the person that supposedly, if there was no Vince, and if it was just, regular Hulk Hogan without the red and yellow, without the music, without the ripping the shirt, without the merchandise, without the brother, all that shit. Who knows what would have happened? What if McMahon had just stuck with him and said, you know what? I like what you're doing. You could stay with Freddie Blassie and just do that gimmick, What if he had said, that's just fine? Or what if someone else had taken that place? So I think when it comes down to it, end of the day, at least from, many years of seeing both sides and how much of them benefited off of each other, I honestly think that if there was, and it's very hard to do, because if there hadn't been a Hogan, would have Vince been as successful in all of his endeavors? And if there had been no Vince, would Hogan still be in wrestling? So it's kind of a hard concept. So if I had to, I would say without Hogan, Vince would not be where he was and how the wrestling world exploded thanks to the idea of Hulkamania.
Hey, great answer. Will.
All right, so mine's going to be kind of opposite of that, but respectfully, I would say Vince Jr., the Vince that we all know, made him 100%. And what he did was he made his character marketable. Boulder had already been popular in AWA. It had already been popular in the territories. It had already been popular in Japan. He was already working for Vince Sr. and Vince Sr. said, "No, you're not taking time off to do this movie." And he said, "Yes, I am." And Vince Sr. fired him. So while he was out and doing the movie and looking for a job and kind of wrestling the territory days, you know, a big aspect I think none of us really thought about was, it was classy Freddie Blassie, and it was superstar Billy Graham that he modeled his look and his character after, and he did that
Sir.
on his own. He did that on his own. That wasn't a Vince thing. And also too Jesse Ventura with the do rags and all that stuff. He did that on his own. So by the time he came back, and Vince Jr. said, "Hey, I want you to come back, and I want you to be this American hero character, and I think I can market it." And this is early '84, late '83, after Vince has purchased the company from his father. Vince created the character and the marketing aspect of it, but as far as his look, his persona, all that stuff, he took that from other talents and brought that back with him. And if you go back and look at the kind of like the A&E biography type thing, or any of the DVDs they made, or any of that stuff on the beginning and the creation of him, he already came back in '84 going into face Sheik as that character. And if you listen to, I can't remember for sure, but I want to say it was Gorilla that said Hulkamania is born when he beats the Sheik. And none of that was Vince Jr. That was him bringing that character in. But Vince created that creative merchandising, created that major merchandising machine. The guy was on everything. He was on towels, he was on washcloths, he was on toothbrushes, he was on cups, he was on balloons, he was on anything and everything you could think of. And to this day, and this is a true story, and I bet everybody in this room, or almost everybody in this room, to this day, this year, has bought a figure of Hogan this year. And
More
that
than a figure.
creation of, what's that?
I said I bought more than a figure.
Well, yeah, but you see what I mean, though.
Yeah.
Everybody, that was 40 years ago that happened, 40 and a half now that happened. And I think it all comes down to the creativity of the character and the merchandising of the character that Vince did. Could one have survived without the other? Yes, Vince could have survived without Hogan. Vince was already buying up all the territories before Hogan came in. Vince was already getting his pick of the litter, basically, of the characters he wanted. He had very strong, tremendous characters in there. You still would have had, people like the Macho Man in there. You still would have had Bruno in there. You still would have had Bob Backlund in there, the Sheik in there, the Hart Foundation. You still would have had a lot of characters. Could WWF have done it without Hogan? I think so. But it wouldn't have been the experience that we've all seen. But, the idea was to create an American hero character. And a lot of people forget about Paul Orndorff. Once he turned face, they really pushed him to be almost a secondary all-American Hulk Hogan type figure. So if you go back and you watch some of those early Tuesday Night Titans, which I think some of you guys have watched those, and you could really see they were pushing Orndorff to almost be a replacement in case something happened to Hogan, and he could have very easily stepped into that role. He had the look, he had the physique, he had the persona, he had all that stuff.
Agreed.
You already had the heel, you had Piper there already. You had Slaughter, who helped own the company, who very easily could have, come in to wrestle as well, because Slaughter was still active at that point, even though you didn't see him very much. So there's a lot of different things there. You could have made that character out of several different people, but superstar Billy Graham getting hurt is what opened the door for Hogan, and it opened the door for Vince Jr. to create that character. And once the character was created, that's when it really took off. So again, Vince created him, and Vince could have done it without him.
Hell of an answer. I'm loving these answers, guys. This is a great topic. Mr. Bowman?
Shoot, how do you follow that?
It's hard.
Yep. I was sitting there thinking of the same thing, like what William was going off of. You got to make a character profitable. So to answer that, Hulk Hogan made McMahon a shit ton of money, and so if it was not for the Hulk Hogan, he wouldn't made it. But to answer this is Vince made Hulk Hogan because a promoter can make any of the talent, push them for their, to be their champion, to them to go to fire them, to have them move on. Like I said, touched off what William was saying that McMahon was already buying the territories back then, so he could get all the top stars from anywhere. So he was already doing that. He had to find that main piece, which was Hulk Hogan. So then you had WrestleMania, and then WrestleMania took off, and right there, and then eventually the Hulk Hogan character just stayed going. And then now this is McMahon as the promoter owner. But then when you see down the road, Hulk Hogan decides to jump ship and go to WCW because McMahon was already feeling that Hulk Hogan was about it at a certain out of his prime. They let him go. He's able now to do movies, go to WCW, and go on and build up WCW because WCW wasn't nothing until Hulk Hogan showed up. Granted, they had Ric Flair, they had Sting, they had Dusty, during that times, but Hulk Hogan brought them up to, worldwide. So then all of a sudden you start seeing an increase in WCW, decline in WWF. And then to who made the characters, I feel like McMahon's character, picked up in the late Attitude Era during that time. So, you had the rivals going on with, if it, wasn't for McMahon facing Stone Cold, you wouldn't have a Mr. McMahon character. So, but still, if you look at it as a who made who, the promoter, owner, whoever's always makes the talent. Now, granted, if it's the talent's job is to, be able to go out there, cut promos, the look, to do the matches, to perform. But I guess to answer that question, it was Hulk Hogan, yes, made McMahon a lot of money, and he's still making a lot of money. And that's my answer.
This is good
All
shit.
right, great answer. Thank you, sir. G.I. Shane, you're next.
Well, when you're the last to go, everybody kind of already said it. It could go either way. Vince had the company, and Hulk Hogan brought it. If he wasn't the guy, he wouldn't have made it as big as he is. So like I said, just depends on who you ask, and I would have to say Hogan. Hogan made himself. Hogan was big in before WWF. Hogan was big after WWF. Hogan is big now, but but I agree with Ben. It could go either way. That's my answer.
Hey, those are all fantastic.
The real question should be: did McMahon make Bastion Booger? Or did Bastion Booger make McMahon?
Nobody made Bastion Booger. Bastion Booger was the best on his own.
That should be the $1 million question.
I don't know.
Friar Ferguson.
Yeah, Friar Ferguson and Norman the Lunatic. And actually, he was a great wrestler in Canada. I forget what his name was. What was it? Something Singh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't really remember. Whatever. All right, guys. Guess what time it is now?
Show and tell.
And
T.L. Hopper tribute.
T.L. Hopper. Hey, I love T.L. Hopper. That's Tony Anthony. And I was a huge Tony Anthony fan when he first debuted in Memphis. I'm sorry.
Dirty White Boy.
But he was fantastic. Dirty White Boy.
Dirty White Boy.
Yeah. And also Lynn Denton. That name's going to be, you're going to be seeing Lynn Denton a lot. That name's going to be coming up. He was part of the Dirty White Boys with T.L. Hopper / Tony Anthony.
Yep.
So, okay, guys, I'm going to grab my OG promo here that I'm going to show you guys of CM Punk. Let me make myself bigger.
Oh, that's what she said.
Oh, I'm new at this, people. Okay, here we go.
Nice.
Original
Claim.
promo.
Nice.
CM Punk.
Claim.
Very
Yes,
Since
who,
his
who has one of
ECW
those in their
days.
Who has one of those in their collection?
Can we claim that?
No, hell no. You know, the thing of it was, we was talking about selling some stuff, you know, going through and, you know, asking, and I'm like the main one saying, I can't decide. I can't sell anything. I buy to keep. I can't let nothing go. I just can't do it, guys.
I do have a CM Punk coming though from Will.
Oh,
Yeah, you do.
you
You
got
gotta
that.
switch
That's a
that
hell of a
one.
CM Punk.
Yeah, Kev was trying to buy it from under you.
Yeah, I asked him if anybody sold it.
You dirty bastard.
Yep.
You
Actually,
dirty
I
white
was
boy.
just wondering because I already had this, so and you
Okay.
don't have
Yeah.
this.
I
But
don't.
if I ever sell this, you'll be the first person I ask.
Okay.
Brian,
Hey,
brother.
not only that, Kev. Remember we talked about that's an original promo. The promo alone, Ben and I talk about this a lot too, and Brian and I talk about this a lot too. Promos by themselves, unsigned, are worth some serious money by themselves because everybody wants them now. Where back in the day, people used to just pitch them.
Yep.
All right, Brian.
All right, so I got this from Ben a while back. I got a Rey Mysterio.
Nice.
I love that Ray.
I have that.
I got one of those too.
I have
I
that.
got one of those
Who's
too.
that coming out the sky?
I got Erwin R. Shyster. I got this from
That
William.
Lauren Dart coming
And
off the trailer.
And then guys, when we have our talents come in and we got these cards, I'm gonna show these cards. These cards are badass.
They really are.
There's Henry Godwin, Phineas Godwin,
Nice.
Typhoon, Shockmaster. So and I'm sure that this just happened by coincidence, but if you guys notice, the back of the Typhoon ones are darker blue. It's pretty cool that if we continue to do that, like bring in different talent, we have a different backing of the card. But I don't know.
I like that idea.
It's up to
I like
you
that
guys, but
idea.
to see how it's like a darker blue than
I see that.
Yep.
so. Just
I
a
didn't-
just a suggestion.
What about
Did
the
you get
Al
a-
Snow cards? Are the Al Snow cards a different blue too?
I know I ordered them. I never got them though.
Nah.
I know a guy.
Ben.
Y'all know a guy.
I got my 8x10 though, but I never got any cards.
If you need a card, I
Uh-oh.
know a guy.
Yeah, I know a guy too.
He's got a couple.
Yeah, we know a guy, Brian, if you need one.
And I never got the Mountie either.
We know a guy for
Yeah.
that too.
But anyway, these cards are badass.
We know a guy.
Thank you.
Ben, they just all called you out at one time.
Yep.
I didn't mean to.
See, and I just threw it. I just threw him in that Henry Godwin in that from where he left it from the
I know,
last
I appreciate
commercial.
it. And I appreciate it, Dan.
All right, I'll send you those Al Snow and Mountie.
Damn it, Ben.
You had one job.
Damn it, Ben, you had one.
Damn it, Ben.
I was waiting for Ben to slide in the bushes like Homer Simpson.
Yeah,
He's like,
exactly.
what? I gotta go, guys. Bye.
When would he have
Hey,
4 shows?
To be fair, Shane got up the Al Snow card.
That's true.
That is true.
Mr. Elkins, my brother.
Well, speaking of the Al Snow card, there it is.
There it
Hey,
is.
there it is.
Hey, there's my card.
Yeah, there's
And
there's
Oh.
there's Brian's card.
It's the same dark blue. Yeah,
it's the same dark blue.
that's awesome
Yeah,
though.
so
So he
Yeah,
did that
so-
just to
Oh,
rub
man,
that
that
in
turned out
Brian's
great.
face.
Right.
Son of a
and I
bitch.
also have the Jacques Rougeau
Nice.
quarter roll.
Such a fantastic gimmick item.
It is. And then because you can never have too many Alexas.
Ooh, I like that.
Oh shit! When did I miss that?
Oh
what?
wow.
I like that.
There, do it that way.
Captain Marvel, Alexa,
Very
baby.
nice.
Got Marvel Alexa, baby. And then
Claim.
I got this week. My Jerry Lawler
Nice.
pop.
Those are awesome.
Because you need to invest in Jerry Lawler, guys.
Hell yeah.
You need to invest in Jerry Lawler.
He's in bad shape. I was right beside of him. He couldn't even lift his hand.
And I think I got the Mountie too. Hold on a second. Let me check.
You son of a
Oh,
bitch.
wait.
On the back of the
He's
card.
just
it
trying to
says
smear it in Brian's face.
He is, isn't he?
I'm kidding. Go ahead. I'm kidding.
He's like, "Fuck you, Brian."
Hey, Brian.
Okay. Mr. Guru
I can
himself.
feel the love.
So I picked up this week, my first
Hell yeah.
Hogan.
Nice.
Yeah.
I need that. I need that one
Nice.
still.
There wasn't 16 of them. There was one, and I got it before anybody else could get
Good
it.
job.
Nice.
And then I got these in the mail today from Will. Look at that.
The Brooklyn Brawler, baby.
That is a beautiful. I mean, come on, guys. Probably one of the greatest
it.
jobbers ever.
Yep.
And
Oh,
then I got
enhancement talent.
enhancement talent. Yeah.
Jobbers.
There we go.
Bullshit. He's a jobber.
He's a jobber.
And then I got this beautiful.
Mommy.
You know, she has a. I mean,
Cool.
she has a nice vest on.
Where the hell's the top
Really,
loader?
Them titties.
Ben, I said my top loaders for Ben.
Oh. Okay.
They're in the big $40 sleeve
Binder.
folder binder that
Oh,
I
yeah.
spent on Amazon that came 4 days late. So, but Ben,
Yeah,
if you
I
need
like
top
that.
loaders, Ben needs top loaders.
Yes,
I like
thank
that,
you.
Rhea.
Yes,
I like that,
Ben.
Rhea.
Just want to throw that out there. Ben needs top loaders.
yes, I could always use top loaders.
Ben has top loaders at home.
Well, he got like 25,000 from me last week, so
You charge him $5 a piece?
I didn't. I charged him, just to thank you, brother.
Oh,
I'm
you're
a nice guy. I'm
Yeah.
a nice guy.
That, hey, like Hogan said, that doesn't work for me, brother.
This is some good shit. This is some good shit.
All right,
Calvin.
Calvin. Oh, yeah, I got his. Hold on.
Before you do that,
Yes, sir.
Kev, just saying, don't sleep on the mystery boxes from William Hudson.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, do not do
I've got
that.
him too, yeah.
That's my
Do
first
not do
one
that.
that I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the first mystery box I've gotten from him.
And
it
guys,
was
if you
phenomenal.
don't know this, Ben and I put in a shit ton of effort trying to put good stuff in those, because I can tell you we've all bought stuff like that and it's come and it's been garbage, and we try to put in good stuff. So thank you, Calvin.
I got a mystery box too. I haven't opened
And
it yet.
excuse the photos. My wife took them photos, so
Oh, they're
That's
good.
all
Can
right.
you all see them? This is the first time
Nice.
I'm doing this.
Jerry Briscoe, baby,
Jerry
Yep.
Briscoe.
with
There you go.
Stone
This-
Cold.
Jake the
Jake
Snake
Snake.
Robert.
Hey, invest in Jake.
I love
Invest
that
in
Jake.
Jake.
That is one of the best Jakes that I've seen, really.
Yep, invest in Jake.
That's a hell of a figure.
Oh yeah, he's wearing the Bam Bam attire.
Yes.
Yep.
Bronson Reed, top WWE superstar right now, guys.
Man, that was a hell of a mystery envelope, because you got one hell of a freaking, top talent. He's going to be a top talent, but I mean, he's,
Oh yeah.
WWE talent. Look at him.
Yep.
Hell of a figure. Jock.
Nice. I'm almost out of those. All those that we got done, and I'm almost out of those. I'm sure Ben has some, but I'm almost out.
Damn, that's crazy.
Look at
Gob-
that.
Oh, that's beautiful right there.
That's a hell of
Look
a.
at that.
That is probably one of my favorite edits that you guys have done.
Well,
I love that.
that's not it.
Oh,
We got
Damn, you got a
tacos.
taco too?
That's
Shit.
my. You put a taco on
damn.
there.
I didn't get a taco in my mystery box.
We'll be throwing tacos in the mystery box.
That's Emmanuel got a hog ass sandwich.
Yeah, I got
Okay,
a
well,
hog
that's
ass
all my.
sandwich.
I'm new with doing that. I had to
I
learn.
got a hog ass sandwich in mine.
Now,
Hey, now,
in
hey,
Calvin's,
now,
I didn't get a taco.
Yeah.
in Calvin's defense, though, he's got some fire coming too. He's still got another package,
I
I
do.
think, floating around out there somewhere. And then
I
he's got.
got that package. I just didn't send Kev the pictures
Oh, okay.
of that
Yep.
beautiful Razor Ramon auto.
Yep.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Yep.
Oh yeah, that
And-
one's
But
And then
then
I
you
still
got-
have one more.
You got the one that's getting inserted here in a couple weeks, the big one. And then
Yep.
I don't want to tell them what it is, so you can surprise them. but that's got to get certified. And then you've got this week you bought that badass program. I'm not gonna tell him what that
Yep.
was either, so you can surprise him. So he's got some fire, guys.
Yes, he does.
He's gonna win some weeks here with the show and tell. I can tell you.
But guys, that mystery box that Calvin got, I mean, that Bronson Reed figure goes from anywhere from 80 to $100.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
$125 for a mystery box, and the figure is $100. So I mean,
Yep.
you're going to double your money on those things easily.
oh yeah.
Plus
Well,
that
Jake
Jake
the
alone.
Snake. Jake charges $60 to sign. So a hell of a nice pickup, man.
Yep.
Shane, I wish you opened your box, man.
Oh, I'm about
You
to.
know
I'm
what?
waiting. I'm
Okay.
when it's my turn. I got it sitting here opened. I just
Oh,
haven't
yeah.
looked
A
at it
live
yet.
unboxing. I like it.
I like
Me
that.
Mhm.
too.
Well, let's go to
So
Dr.
you
Mike.
guys-
like it a lot.
You guys know I do mine a little different. Like I'll put my stuff together and get it in a box, and then I'll just tell Jessica to put random names on the boxes, so I don't know what anybody gets until they get it. So that's the only way I could ever figure out how to do it where it's truly fair. And if anybody has a better idea, definitely give me the idea. But I love how those come out because I don't know who's getting what, so I try to make them all as cool as possible.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Right on.
You're up, brother.
All right.
I agree.
So-
Always Sheets. I agree.
I
agree with that
I
comment.
absolutely love Ray figures, and I love the colors on this one. I got the new Top Picks Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, that's a
Nice.
I
nice
got
figure
like
right
the
there.
neon pink and
Oh,
blue
nice.
and the LWO shirt. The box is
Mhm.
tore to fuck. Don't care. I'm gonna open it
Yeah.
anyway. So
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. Let's rip them.
I got the new version of the Roman Ultimate. I got the previous one, but this one's even better because it's got the side plates and it's
Yep.
got a different head scan and stuff.
I like it.
I got Omos, Cowboy Brock,
That's a cool fig.
and since we were talking about this gentleman a few minutes ago, I have the first figure. I got the new Bronson Reed.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
I have yet to see that one.
I
That's
got
your,
the
that's your future,
I haven't
your
seen any
future
of those.
Intercontinental Champion. That Bronson.
the Chase Chelsea Green with the pink and the orange.
Chelsea Green.
Isn't that Williams' favorite talent?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That
I got
sure
this
is.
for $6.99 at Ollie's. The Batman
Nice.
attire Rey Mysterio. And
I love that
was so
attire.
happy
I've
to
had a
find
couple of
this.
those. I've had a couple of those Batman ones signed, and they are slick, man. They
I
are
had
slick.
one time.
And LA Knight, yeah.
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 But that is
Yeah.
my show and tell for this week.
Whose
All
game
right.
is it?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Will?
All right. I'm going to make mine real sweet and real short and sweet, I should say. So a lot of us have been collecting the VHS, watching the VHS, doing all that good stuff. So here's one you don't see very often. And Nick, if you notice in our chat, I tag you a lot when I post videos that I watch because I know, you're a connoisseur too of the videos like me.
Oh, absolutely.
Spring Stampede 2000 on video. Not a common one at all. DDP
Oh, yeah.
versus Jeff Jarrett for the world title. Tons of great matches. Sting and Steiner. A lot of great matches on there. This one's not, uncommon, but it's not easy to find where it's like a non-rental. Like usually these are all rentals. A non-rental copy of Winter Combat 96. A lot of people wouldn't know what this is, but this actually is the 4th and 5th in your house pay-per-views from 95. So it's got like Diesel versus Bulldog, Undertaker versus Goldust. It's got Brett versus Bulldog. So you got In Your House 4 on here, and then you have In Your House 5 on here. This is how they released it in the United States, so it's really cool. And then the last one I'm going to show, because, like I said, short and sweet, guys, a still sealed copy of Backlash 2002. Now, what was so significant about Backlash 2002? It was the very first pay-per-view where they took the F out. It's just the WWE Backlash.
Oh, wow.
And of course, main event Triple H versus Hogan where Hogan wins his 6th WWF Championship. So really looking forward to cracking that one open. Still sealed in the plastic. Really, really cool. So excited about that one. I'll be sending you guys pictures like I usually do of the VHSs. So hope you guys are enjoying those. I know I have been.
Well,
So I
what's
got
really
the
cool about
comment
that,
here.
Hogan was the last WWF Undisputed Champion and the first
Yeah.
WWE Undisputed.
Yeah, right here at Backlash. This was it. This was
Yep.
the event. So, and because, WrestleMania 18 was technically the last WWF pay-per-view that came out on a media, like a DVD or a video, where when the pay-per-view happened at Backlash, it was still WWF Backlash. But when it came out on video, it was called WWE Backlash. So, if you didn't know the history there, now you know the history. Really, really cool. Because literally, he wins the WWF Championship that Sunday night, and the very next Monday, the day after, it becomes the WWE Championship.
So TN Couponer has to say Brett versus Bulldog was a classic, especially Brett bleeding.
Absolutely. Yeah, at the December 95 in your house.
So, okay, who got next? Ben Bowman. There you go.
All right, a lot of great stuff. The only thing I had, Kev, this looked familiar too, but
Yes.
Terry Gordy, baby.
Myself
Is it mine? Is that mine?
Yes, because mine's over at the house. But yes, I have a second one, but yes, this will actually be yours, Kev. But yeah, we picked up the new Terry Bam Bam Gordy's first in line figure, of course, where he has the executioner attire in there as well. I don't think it has the UWF belt. I wish it did, but I guess I'll wait for the Big Boss Man figure to come out here very soon, the new Legends. But yeah, also real quick too, as for the mystery boxes, right now we're trying to work on maybe do a game night, do like mystery game night, which we'll get all the details. So don't sleep on that as well. So we got some ideas coming with some mystery items. That's all I got.
Nice.
All right, here we go. We've been waiting for the unboxing. G.I. Shane.
Right on. Well, before I grab that, I'll show this real quick.
Ooh,
I got
that's
this from
beautiful.
Ben. He got it signed for me.
Beautiful.
That's sweet.
Gorgeous.
Man, I love that.
That's a
that
sweet
looks great.
auto.
Well, that green
That
just
looks
popped.
great.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. It's gonna go good over there with all my other Joe shit.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
let's see what I got in my mystery box. Let's see, we got Colossal Bronson Reed.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Got a Virgil on the back.
Hell yeah.
Meat
That's
sauce.
awesome.
We got Godfather and Minion.
Midian. Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hell yeah. You know, I'll be seeing Godfather soon too, so I can get that signed from him.
That's
Hell
awesome.
yeah.
Dope. Oh, that's sweet. Typhoon.
Typhoon, baby.
Earthquake.
A hell of
Hell
a
yeah.
picture.
You
And
can
then
still get Jimmy
Quebecer.
on that too. You can still get Jimmy on that Typhoon.
Yeah.
I like that.
And oh shit. That's fucking badass right there.
Holy crap.
Oh,
RVD.
Mr.
nice.
fucking RVD.
Look at that
Nice.
figure.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Man, that's
Like-
that's worth the fucking price for the box alone.
The whole
Yep, I like
damn
that.
show.
I love the
I like that
orange.
Yep, that's a good color.
That orange
The whole effing
is
show.
sweet.
That's sweet.
Thanks, Will. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
man. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Hey, guys,
Awesome
that
stuff.
finishes up our show and tell, and we're going to wrap everything up. But before we do that, everybody's going to go around and have a little something to say and say our goodbyes and take us home. So we'll start with you, Brian.
guys, again, thank you for tuning in and watching us for this hour. We went in overtime, but it's all right. Again, check us out on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And again, thank you guys for everything you do. Appreciate it.
Sir, Mr. Elkins, my brother.
I agree with everything Brian said, even though he's a little dickhead. Thank you. Thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate you. This wouldn't be the success it is without you. Same as Tuesday nights. You make us successful, and we appreciate it, and we don't forget that or take it lightly. Thank you very much. We'll see you on Tuesday, and we'll see you next Thursday.
Hooroo!
Check us out Tuesday nights. Check us out Thursday nights. See something you like and you got the money, like Ben says, make an offer. Just, enjoy it, and you'll watch wrestling. It comes on just about every night. Check something out. You got Peacock. It's going up, $12.99.
Brian's doing the Taylor Swift thing.
Communicating and writing each other.
It's a boyhood crush.
Calvin, tell him to shut up so you can talk.
Thank y'all for allowing me one more week. Y'all tune in on Tuesdays, Thursdays. Don't sleep on the mystery boxes.
Nope.
Nice.
Calvin, you're welcome back any week you want to. You can show up. I know you're on the road, so we appreciate having you.
The way I'm set up now, I can join every Thursday night.
Well,
yeah, I tell him all the time. I'm like, dude, you're always welcome. He's like, hey, can I join? I'm like, dude, you're always welcome. You just have to let me know. Send you the link.
Yep.
So he's done a great job. Calvin, I gotta hand it to you. You've done a great job, and we've really enjoyed you being on here. Manuel too, done a great job. We've enjoyed you being on here. I know you guys are the two newest, and we have really enjoyed it. So we're glad you guys are here.
Two newest and
wish you best in all your future endeavors.
The two beautiful.
I was gonna say maybe Calvin needs to be added to our chat.
It was nice. It was nice knowing you, Guru.
All right, Dr. Nick.
Well, I just want to say, everybody, thanks for coming in every Thursday and Tuesday, hanging out with us. You might learn some new stuff you didn't know.
Even I know
some great items. Obviously, you could tell that with the mystery boxes, they more than deliver. So just thank you, everybody, supporting us, and we all appreciate it.
Will.
Oh yeah.
So again, guys, really sincerely, I tell you this all the time, but I really appreciate y'all. You guys are all just awesome, and I think the world and all of you guys. So, and I've really enjoyed having Calvin and Emmanuel join us because I think they've added even more perspective to what we're doing. And it's good to have a guys' night of the week where we just get together and kind of shoot the shit about some topics that we all love and enjoy. So it really is a good bonding time, and I've really enjoyed it. A couple of just real quick announcements. Number one, tomorrow we are going to do our first winter pick'em event on the page. We discussed it. The admins discussed it. We haven't done one since we started this page, and we are going to do a winter pick'em, but it's not going to be just any winter pick'em. There's going to be some really fire prizes in there. So there's going to be some really big boy items along with some regular stuff in there too. But guys, you're going to want to at least look at, even if you don't participate in it, that's perfectly okay. But there's going to be some stuff in there. You're going to have the option to win. Just to give you a little kind of I guess a little, let the secret out of the bag a little early. There's going to be 3 winners on this one here. Cause usually anytime I ever ran a winner pick'em, I always did at least 2 or 3 winners. And I see a lot of people do 1 winner, and that's great, but it's a whole lot better when at least, a few people get to win. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Hoping it fills. If not, it'll kind of be up there for the weekend. And but I've never had one not filled that I can recall. So we're hoping for the best there. And then, of course, Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, I know Ben and I are working really hard to bring all new merchandise in as well. So we're going to have some good stuff in there Tuesday. Check it out. Even if you're not buying, come hang out, talk, check out the merchandise, talk wrestling, talk life with us, whatever. So But anyway, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you very, very soon. And yes, I see your comment, Owie, and thank you very much. Ben?
Yes, thank you, everybody. Thank you, guys. Love y'all. Like I said, I enjoy this every week. Check us out Tuesday, and everybody that's out there. If you always have any questions, anything, want to talk wrestling, want to show your collections, like I said, Kev, a lot of us make daily posts on the page. Like tomorrow and this weekend will be like show something that you just got in the mail, like a mail day, your collection piece. We love to see that. Like I said, to me, that's my favorite part. Like watching, for example, watching Shane open his box tonight. That stuff right there, I love that. I love it. And like to see the excitement of everybody, getting, because a lot of stuff, it's our hard-earned money. Like I said, right now, money is tight, and to see you, put a smile on somebody's face makes the world. And like I said, wrestling's cool. Like I said, we all love wrestling, and like I said, this is a great group, great bunch of people. So thank you so much. That's all I got.
All right, Shane.
Thanks everybody for joining in and hanging out and watching, and appreciate all you guys, and hope everybody has a good weekend.
All right. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you all for tuning in. We'll see you Tuesday night, and we'll see you next Thursday. Thanks a lot so much, guys. Have a good night.
Have a good night, everybody.